In this video, we're going to be looking at how to set up a sleep schedule on the iPhone. When we use a sleep schedule, we can set how many hours of sleep we want to get, what our goal is for sleep. The iPhone will then remind us to start winding down. It'll set an alarm to wake us up. It'll turn on a customized Do Not Disturb to where you receive minimal notifications. And if you have an Apple Watch where it is always on, when you go to sleep, it'll turn that display off. Then when you wake up, when the alarm goes off, your always on will automatically turn on the Apple Watch. This is all done through a sleep schedule. Let's see how this works on the iPhone. Now, in order to set this up, what we need to do is go over to our Health app. This used to be set up in the Clock app, but now it is set up through the Health app. So I tap on Health. Now what we need to do is we need to find Sleep. The easiest way to do that is by going over to Browse here on the right tab, and then when you swipe up, what you're going to see is Sleep. This is where we set up our sleep schedule. Now there are a few options in here, and as you set it up, what you are going to be seeing here is a graph of how much sleep you got, so you can also see what your trends are. But the first thing we have to do is we have to set this up. So how do we do that? Well, if we swipe up here, what we need to do is we need to set up a sleep schedule. So I'm going to tap on this. The first thing that we need to do is we need to set our first schedule. I tap on this, and by first schedule, what we're able to do is set up multiple schedules. So maybe on the weekend you want to have a different sleep schedule. You can do that. You can have multiple sleep schedules. So let's just go with the weekday right now. I'm going to turn off Saturday and Sunday. And for my sleep schedule during the week, I would like to go to bed at 10:30, and I'm going to go to 7:30. A little 6:30 is a little bit too early for me. So now we can see it's going to go to sleep, or it's going to start reminding me to go to sleep around 10:30, and the alarm is going to go off at 7:30. I swipe up. We can see I'm going to be getting about 9 hours of sleep. That's a little too much, so let's go and take this and move it over. We're going to go and move this over to 11:30. So now I'm going to get my 8 hours of sleep if I go to bed at 11:30 and I wake up at 7:30. We do have alarm options, so if I do not want to have the alarm, I can turn that off. And then if we want to use sound and haptics. So basically this is all for the alarm. All I have to do now is just tap on Add, and I've added my first schedule. Let's go and add one for the weekend. I tap on Add Schedule. We have Saturday and Sunday tapped there. You can see that. It's already selected for Saturday and Sunday. With this, I'm going to go a little bit later. I am a little bit of a late nighter. We can see that it is orange because I'm not getting enough sleep. So let's go ahead and bring this up here a little bit. There we go. Now we're at 8 hours of sleep. It is no longer alerting me that I'm not going to be getting enough sleep. With this one, I'm going to turn the alarm off. And now will not set an alarm on the weekend. All I have to do now is just go to Add. And now I have my 2 sleep schedules here. We also do have additional data. You're going to see down here I have wind down. What it's going to do right now is tell me to start winding down 45 minutes before I go to bed. I tap on this and I can change that time. I'm going to leave it at 45. So now at 10:45 on a weekday, what it's going to do is tell me to start winding down. I can also set my sleep goal. Maybe you don't need as much sleep. If you want to set it for 7 hours, you can set it for 7 hours. Or maybe you need a little more sleep. You could set it for 9 hours. By default, it is set for 8 hours. And then we have track time in bed with the iPhone. What it's going to do is it's going to track when you pick up your iPhone when you're in bed. And this is all for health benefits. If you do not want it to keep track of that, you can turn that off. We also have the sleep reminders. This is for the wind down. And we have our sleep results. This is all the tracking. So typically what I will do is I will leave these all on because I want to see what amount of sleep I'm getting on a regular basis. So now with this on here, what I'm going to be able to do is start tracking my sleep. As I mentioned, if you have an Apple Watch that is always on, what's going to happen with this schedule, I have an Apple Watch that is always on. What's going to happen is at 11:30, that display will turn off. And then it'll turn on automatically at 7:30 on the weekdays. On the weekends, that display is going to turn off at 12:30, and it's going to turn on at 8:30. So how can you see the time when it is turned off? You just tap on the screen and it'll show you the time. But then it'll turn back off again. So you don't have that night light always on, your Apple Watch always on even when you're sleeping. When you are finished, all you have to do is just go to Browse here, and your iPhone will start tracking your sleep. It'll remind you to start winding down. It'll set an alarm. It'll turn your Apple Watch off when you go to sleep. It'll turn on Do Not Disturb when you go to sleep, or a sleep focus, a customized Do Not Disturb. And it'll start tracking your sleep. You'll be able to see how many hours you sleep on a regular basis. So that is how we set up bedtime on the iPhone. This is done through the Health app. Again, it used to be done through the Clock app. Now it's done through the Health app. And as you can see, there are quite a few features to it. Wind down, we can turn our Apple Watch off if it's always on. We can have it turn on a focus, a sleep focus. We don't even have to have an alarm like on the weekends. We can just turn the alarm off on the weekend. So that is how we set up a bedtime schedule on the iPhone.